Morning, morning extreme, fellow extremist fans. Yep, last time I did a video, there was certain stuff I said I wanted to get off my chest about something. This involves the XFL. This a couple weeks ago, I told you guys I watched the show, and nowadays my friend, he is one of the producers of it. So he told me, just go. He said, Ty or Bison, go ahead and watch the 3-hour show and tell me what you think of my first time, producing. So I went to watch it, and I'm sitting here just looking at this, and I was like looking really hard. I'm like, because I really wanted to stop at a certain point while I was watching it on HBO. And then I said, no, I'm going to give him a benefit of the doubt. It's not going to be his fault. I said, I bet they changed his script. And they did. But I'll get to that shortly. I'm looking like there was in that whole 3-hour block, there was just 2 fights on there. That's it. The rest of it was just talking. So I guess it's promoting the event that was coming up, which I made kind of an appearance there, just to be there. And I'm looking at this, and it's kind of sad. I was like, well, it ain't his fault. And I told him, he said, Tyron, wait, after 3 hours it went off, he asked me, Ty, what did you think of the show? So I was sitting there for a little bit thinking, and I'm like, Prince, and he said, yes. I said, what the hell was that? And he said, what do I mean? I said, on that whole 3-hour plot, that had more fights on there. There was just 2 fights, and that was it. The rest was everybody talking about they can't wait for this, they can't wait for that. And I'm like, looking like I'm seeing a bunch more talking than anything. And he said, well, I'll try to be honest with you. I'm just an executive producer. I'm not the producer. And I said, that's true. So I just looked at him, like I said, and I'm like, Prince, what the hell was that? And again, he said, what do you mean? I said, throughout the whole 3-hour show, there's only 2 fights on that was on there. And the rest was just everybody was talking about the event coming up. And I was sitting there and telling him, is this what the XFF has come to? He said, well, Ty, we're retired, so you would expect this coming generation to talk more than anything. And I'm like, I see. So I told him, so basically what we did when we were fighters, I guess they ignoring that. And he said, well, Ty, what can I do? I'm like, I said, well, and I told him, since technically it's not your fault, they changed it on you on the fly. And I told him that's the type of disrespect right there on today. Like you do what they promised that you could do. So that of course he would say, yeah, you could do it, but then of course he lies about it. I bet he told you 10 minutes before you aired, right? Yeah, exactly. He does stuff like that. He's an idiot. But anyway, you had your champion, the current champion, Mr. Wear Lip Gloss, running his mouth about this, that, and the other, which has nothing to do with the XFL. And I had sit down, and the young punk, yeah, he's 25. I'll give him that. He's talented. He just sat in the chair, glowed. I'm just staring at him, sitting there looking at him. He thinks it was fun in games. I'm like laughing. He said, I'm a 25-year-old prodigy. I'm a champion, a young one. And then he said, how old am I? I laughed at this kid. I'm like, and you remember what I said, friends? I told him, oh yeah, boy, you're a champion right now. Because I told him you didn't You didn't have you haven't got to the nitty gritty of the of fights just yet. You just starting. Yeah, you're hot stuff now, but it's gonna get harder. It's harder to keep it than to actually get it. You see, what he didn't realize, I told him, you paying a target on your own back, buddy, while you're champion. Everybody wants what you got. So I'm wanted to laugh at what he said, so I laughed a little bit, but I did tell him, don't think I'm just sitting here picking at you, because I said if someone else was champion doing what you're doing, I'd be on their rear end as well. And then he goes and tells me when we're doing that sit down, he's like, I see you looking at this championship belt. So I told him, I said, boy, the reason why you still even a champion, because I haven't started any trouble with you just yet. So I told him, you have it easy at the moment. It's like, you can breathe easy. But, as I told him, I said, it's easy to win the belt to a point, yeah, but guess what? Harder to keep, because I'll tell you what, there's going to be people that are going to constantly challenge you while you're champion. So that basically makes you in that company a target, basically, because you're the main champion. And he's all smiles, but I told him, don't think I don't see your, I don't recognize your talents. I mean, you're currently, for now, kicking ass, basically, in the current day of XFL. But you've been having it slightly easy, boy. And I do say that loosely. You had it easy so far. But then there's going to be a time period where you're going to have an off year or two. The only 3 worst years when I was a fighter was 2008, because I stuck around. I didn't leave. I was just there, basically. And then in 2009, the next year after that, it wasn't too bad, but I maybe that whole year had 3 or 4 fights. That's about it. Because I was trying to negotiate a contract. So, and then 2010 came. 2010 to 12. Darkest time for me. I didn't really talk much. I just stared at people when I got asked questions, and I just kept staring at them until they just walked away. So I had a chip on my shoulder. I didn't know what to do. What career? I didn't know what to do with it. I'm just there. Basically, I felt like kind of like an afterthought. Like, I'm here, but then again, what am I doing? I'm just floundering around. So I started sitting backstage, and I just sit there, and the announcer came and asked me a question. He said, Bison, who would you pick to face if you were to win, the tournament? So I sat there like, just sitting backstage like this, and when he asked me that question, I just stared at him, and he walked away. And then my cousin and my cousin came up to me, and when I did win the tournament, he looked at me, he smiled, he said, "Nice work, cousin." All I did was the head nod, and I kept walking. Because as soon as I was done, Josh Taylor came and said, "Congratulations, Bison, on your victory." He said, "Which championship are you going after?" And as soon as he put the microphone to my mouth, I just stared at him, and he walked away. And then, of course, one of my cousins, they came up to me, and he was smiling. He said, "Nice work," and all I did was the family nod like that, and I kept going. So then, moving forward, I had to pick between 4 of them. I had either go for the European Extreme Hardcore, or the heavyweight belt, or did I go after the world heavyweight? So it was decision time. I picked still without saying anything. But the person I picked, whose face I got in, that's who I was going to want to face at the event. So the thing was, my winning streak at that time was kind of on the line. So if I would have lost that, I would have been like what, maybe 82-1. So of course I picked Gerard Christopher. I went right in his face, basically telling him I'm coming for him. So he already in that time, in that year, when I saw him, he already, laid me out already, like I would lay me out, like really cold, like a block of ice. So when I picked him as, my next opponent to take who I had confidence I was supposed to take the belt from him when I fight him, I just gave him I kicked his nutsack and then I power driver him to show him I could be sneaky too. So when that came up to Uncensored at that year, our fight was like, I would say it was like epic, but it was still quite some kick out, and then at one point in the fight we both kicked each other right in the jaw, knocked each other down basically. And at one point, we both had an idea for a headbutt, so I went like that. He did too. We knocked each other the hell out again. And then, I went over to the other to try to collect my head, because my head was hurting, of course. And his head was hurting. And then we stare at each other, of course, thinking, like, this SOB, he stayed down. And I'm thinking probably the same thing as he was thinking. So, next thing I know, I run with a clothesline, and then when we both went to we both just connected, knocked each other out again, except this time I fell out of the thing and it fell on the concrete, basically. So, in that fight, at the time, elbow issue, so, because of that. And then moving to later in the match, it was getting really tough, so I had to hit him with many of stuff I could, and it proved effective. I was really shocked. It was at that time a while since I had a championship period of any sort, so I was okay with it. And now moving to the next year, Ken Sawada. Captain Ken Sawada. He and I'll put it to you this way. No, I say oil and water. Yes, like that. Me and him are totally different elements, but similar. I say maybe about one or two similar things. One we both agree we want to try to be the best, period. And the other one, we're just too good at the time with our kicks and stuff. So, as I progressed, but yeah, let's go back in time quite a bit. My first couple of months and few years. When I came in, I was green as hell, which realized I sucked really badly. It was like I'm just scared to fight, and then they don't tell you to lose up to what you know. So my first fight I almost won it, but it still came as a loss. So fast forward a bit to maybe 4 years later, after my first startup, I won the tag team belt, one of the tag team championships that were there, and Ken, he won the other with one of his in-laws. He became that world tag team champion, and here goes me, hardcore extreme champion. He world extreme hardcore champion, and then moving forward, me, I think I'm going with this European and he became the UK champion. And I'm like, so we didn't cross paths until, you know, that time thing when we had similar uprising. At one of the events, I won one of the main belts, and then he also that same night won the other one. So when that tournament battle royal thing came, we how should I put this? We backed into each other, and then when we turned around, we just stared at each other like really hard, and that gave some people, you know, their curiosity or something. Me and him were just staring hard at each other, like who gonna hit who for who, just staring, we just looking like really hard at each other. So nothing happened. So we both got eliminated out of that battle royal thing anyway. So it didn't matter. But I know me and him kept staring. Every chance we got, we had just a stare down. And then eventually he said something. He said, I'm standing in his pathways. And then I'm over here thinking, you're standing in mine. So when the third came the next year, we were in it again. And finally, we got to, you know, lay into each other basically. And start, you know, see what's what. And then Tony Mitchell, he thought at the time, he said, I got an idea. Because me and him both were hated. We didn't nobody liked us, basically. So Tony said, I have an idea. Let's put these two similar but still polar opposites and let them fight. And at that time, I'm over here thinking, I was like, actually a pretty good idea. Because we keep being on a collision course with each other, backing into each other, and turn around and just staring hard. So I said, that's who, when we sign the contract, it'll be official. So I knew I was going to sign it. He was thinking, and then eventually he signed it, and it was settled. And then when the event came during Underground, people that were watching that were like freaking literally, you know, cheering. I expected them to hate both of us basically because, you know, they don't like us basically. But then here's the weird thing: that whole day, it was like a mixed reaction between both of us. At one point, they saying you know, captain, and the next thing they're saying me gangster. They got like it was like a blending, like so literally mixed up. So we went walking towards each other and still staring, and then I decided to look to my right and look at the mixed reaction. He looked to his right, and it was like we're supposed to be hated, but I guess they liked this type of thing going on. So then we looked at each other again, and then I looked to my left and he looked to his. I'm like, this is a mixed reaction. This is gonna be something, and then I think one of the announcers said something about this is a situation we thought we'd never see. So they said da 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 da, and they said, well, we do get this. The official asked Ken, is he ready? He said, yeah. He asked me, am I ready? I said, oh yeah. And the next thing I know, Ken's like, oh, please bring it in. And the official said, and you know what happens from there? Then here and he was like in the commentary said, here we go. Here comes the extremists, and it was. We started like, you know, power struggling. Next thing I know, he picked me up. He picked me up. He flung my ass across the ring. I'm looking, and he flung my ass across the ring, and I'm looking like, wow. And he was just doing his martial arts or kung fu stance and all that, and he telling me to break it. And I was like looking at that, and I was like, okay. I was like, okay. I said, okay, I see what you're doing. You're doing all that judo stuff on me. You flung my ass across the thing, and then taunted me. So I returned the favor. Instead of me doing my type of thing, I just gave him an F.U. in Italian time. He was like, okay, yeah. So I dragged him over. And then next thing I know, I went and taunted him and going on like this, well, basically F him, basically. So I backed away and told him, why don't you come on? And then and then the matchup went on as, you know, how we wanted. So at one point, he grabbed a belt, and he grabbed the belt he was wearing me. He kept hitting my spinal cord when I'm over there screaming, and then we started having punch struggles with each other, and like punch, and then he threw me right into the turnbuckle chest first, and then next thing I know, he does one of those neck breaker things he does, and he tried, he's like 1, 2, I kicked out, and this is when like 6, 7 minutes already passed. We started just smacking each other across the face. So when he smacked me, I backed up, and then I smacked back, and then he smacked me again. And I just smacked him back, and then next thing I know, we both just spin wheel kicked each other, and we knocked each other out again. And then I went crawling to the other side of the octagon, and then next thing I know, when I got up, he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I'm like, oh, we good. And that proved that we were similar. And then next thing I know, the other part of the fight, he had a baseball bat, and I had a baseball bat, and as soon as we swung, and when we hit each other, we both were knocked out again. And then next thing I know, I'm on the ground, and then we both just flipped up, and we looked like holy shit. I mean, it was like fighting a clone almost. So again, after we hit each other with a baseball bat, we both were down for about, I say, 40, 30 seconds, and the next thing I know, I started to flip up, and so did he, and we just stared like, wow. And then next thing I know, it's like what can I do to stop him? So he hit me with the tombstone power driver. I'm shocked I freaking kicked out of that crap. I'm really shocked because the way I landed, made it seem like my neck is broken, but my neck is starting to hurt, but it wasn't broken, so I was glad about that. And then we started the submission, reversing each other. It's like he had put me in the Boston crab or Chinese crab, whatever he calls it, and I'm over there screaming. I thought I was gonna tap out. But I didn't tap out. I countered and grabbed his arm and put him in the devil's triangle. He was stuck in that, and he found a way to get out of that, and he reversed and put me back in the Boston crab. And I'm like screaming again because my damn spinal cord was broken. It felt like it was breaking. And then I don't know how I did it, but I know once that I grabbed his arm again, it was another count. He's back in the devil's triangle, and he was and he started screaming himself. So then next thing I know, he countered again, and what the hell? I'm back in the damn Boston crab. I'm over there screaming and bleeding on the side of my head. I'm over there just screaming. I'm like, they said, going out. I said, no, and the official said, am I sure? I said, yeah, I'm sure. After him, I'm not doing it. And then next thing I know, I countered again. Instead of doing the triangle choke, I just did a roll up instead. Like kicked it. Of course, I just did that just to get him off. And basically, my back was hurting, and he was holding his neck a little bit going like this. So the next thing I know, I'm on the outside. I'm trying to catch, my breath. So I'm back here. I went and got tackled into the dang side of the thing, and I screamed again. And then it was like the highlight of it. I did something I wasn't supposed to do. So I did a running. I jumped off the thing to see the senton. But I only did that as a desperation mode, and then at one point I also DDT'd him in desperation, almost won with that, but it was never a finish. Almost, and I mean almost won. And then next thing I know, he put me in the Fujiwara armbar, and I'm over here screaming again. My arm felt like he was gonna break off, and then they kept asking me, do I give up? I said no. So and then he got me into the corner. He started doing his kicks and stuff on me, and yeah, it was hurting. And this was when it was 20. All that happened in 29 minutes. This time at the time. So by the time we went past at least 30, 31, I was tired because I wasn't used to fighting that long like that for like 30 minutes. But this fight ended in like 40 minutes, so I said, so I'm over on the ground holding my back. He's just signaling for something. So he ran and tried to do like the running knee. I'm trying to get the hell out the way. And next thing I know, I caught him, picked him up, and then threw him into the thing. And next thing I know, I done super kicked him. He fell, and I fell down too. I was still tired. I just did a desperation kick, wham, and then I fell down too. So next thing I know, I get up. I kept getting up like this. I'm like I said, I kept telling myself I'm tired, so I gotta find something to do to keep this SOB down. So here comes the near climax. As soon as we both got, he ran at me and I caught him. Basically, I caught me, reversed it, and just did a sleeper drop or whatever the heck you call it. But I know I was down, and then he went climbing onto the thing to try to jump on me. So as soon as I got up, I looked. So he jumped, and I caught him, and I was surprised I caught him like this. I turned it over and I just spiked him with a cradle tombstone. So I said, no, that's not good enough. So I picked him up again, and then backed up a little bit, and then I did it again. It's the second one. I picked him up again. I said, okay, I have to finish this SOB. So I picked him again, and I dropped him again. I said, no. I was like, no, it ain't good enough. So I picked him up again, and with this one, I jumped with it as high as I could. So I jumped up like that, and then I said, he's probably going to kick out. So instead of me pinning this dude, I just said, I'm going to drag him dead center. And then what happened? The devil's triangle again. I put him in that again, and I said this time he was not going to get out of it. I made sure of it. So he didn't tap, which I give him respect for, but he passed out and he had excessive blood loss coming out of his, mouth, basically, because everything we did in that, match up. But I know I kept putting more pressure. I kept saying tap out, and of course, Defiant, he flicked the middle finger while in at me, and then he passed out, and the official, he looked at him and said, okay, it's like, yeah, he's done. It was over. And as soon as I heard the ding, 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 I let him go. And I'm passed out. It made it look like I'm asleep, but technically kind of, because I was tired. I was like, I finally got this done. It was like 43, 44 minutes. When I was not used to that type of fight for that long. So that was, I guess, I put it down as, one of my favorite matches, because, favorite fights, basically. So it was legit. I had to have a thing on my elbow for a while, had the bandage thing, and it was asked, am I good to go? So they see if we're, medically clear to do anything, and they would make a suggestion, to the fighters, and also, But between him and me, he had another one I'm not friends with, but I don't hate him. So I don't hate him. We're just a natural dislike, because we have different, how should I put this, philosophies, basically. So he stays in his element, and I stay in mine. But I know after the fight, I expected to, get hated some more, but actually, they clapped for both of us. I was kind of shocked. And then I'm hearing my name getting called, like, gangster. I'm looking around because I was not used to people liking me. And I was like, trying to do everything to make them hate me, but they started liking, what I was doing. I'm like, okay, this is stupid. Man, I said, I'll just run with it. Still be a badass, but a decent one to a point. And that's what I did. that's how I dealt with it at that time. So progressing again, I ended up being a champion for a second time. Even though I skipped the fight that I went to about when I was supposed to fight, what's his name? He did one of his those I guess back elbow shots, and I was down. I got pinned from what I was told when I saw it, directly. And that's what happened. I said, "Damn, I'm shocked that I couldn't remember that whole fight." But no, I think I fought him or whoever the champion was at that time. And that's just how. And then I just, like, okay. But over time, I became a 29-time world champion before anything. And I never looked back too much. That's how that was with me. And then I had the whole ordeal type thingy, and I'm like thinking long and hard about something, and I was like happy that won the main belt. And then when I went to leave I guess a soda in the ring, I told myself, I forgive you, man. And I put the in the center for him. So, I wished him well. And speaking of that, I'm gonna go back a little bit when he won his title at the event too, and we looked and again we we're like just like, yeah, but what can we do about that? It was really nothing. But I know that certain people who watched it and who was in that building looking, they were like really shocked that that I became a 2-time champion. But I told them myself, I said, it's a possibility. You never know, I might lose the championship like on that night that I mentioned I'm champion. You never know, you'd be surprised. And then later on, it was like made me think about something. I'm sitting here like trying to wonder, like, because I was a little concussed, so I had to take time off. I wasn't going to be medically cleared at that time, so I'm just there floundering around, nothing really do much backstage. And then one of the other interviewers that came and asked me a question, I just stared at them, and they walked away, of course. Cause that was one of the years I didn't feel like talking like that. I just stayed to myself. Sometimes I would like picture myself in I guess a padded wall type thing as a don't disturb type of thing, and just sit there. And then again, somebody else came in. They asked me that question. They say, Bison, which such and such you wanna, And I'm sitting there getting frustrated. And again, I just looked at him again, and he kept staring. He stared back for a moment, and he saw how serious I was. Like, I don't, talk like that. I just looked at him, and he walked away. And then my cousin, he saw me with the championship, so he just looked at me and he said, "Cousin, nice work." And I said, "It's the not thing I do like." And then, that's history of that. But I had to eventually, relinquish it. I had to relinquish it because my knees, they were all effed up basically. So I had to make a choice. Do I find something else to do? Because I didn't want to let the situation down. So the next thing I know is someone saying I have a such and such. I'm like, no, let's say I'm not medically clear. If you clear me, I said, trust me, I'm ready. I was ready to go, but I wasn't going to be allowed to compete while have a injury. So I just had to think of something. I said, what am I gonna do back? I said, it's my new contract even ready. I was ready to sign because I was gonna try to stay put. So, back to this other thing. It was back to when me and him had a similar rise in the company at the time. So I was like looking when he won the championship. I won one as well. So it was basically like very similar type stuff going on. So I went and had to think about it. It's like he eventually left after he lost to me. I don't know why he left. One of his pals and brothers and all went with him. So their ideology, of course, that's always said they thought we were gonna fall flat without them, with just the 8 of us being top without the other 8 making it 16. And I said, y'all, it didn't be for modeling or acting. Y'all left here because shit wasn't going your way no more. I mean, you gotta think about it. The times were changing. So, and again, Ken, he only did that for his own financial gain, of course. And people ask me, when did he become so, dickish and prickish? And I told them, well, I know the man behind the scene. He's who he is, as you see now. A jerk, a pompous prick, that's what he is. So that's how, and they say, how is he, and then I'm over here telling people, I said, if you let some extremist tell you who to like, it's like, who are you to tell somebody what to do? So then I just ripped into him literally live, and I told them, he said he left here, of course, again, for modeling, acting, and other stuff. And what was the word I said that got censored? Oh yeah, that's horseshit. You left because things weren't going y'all way anymore. So when y'all were there, we were all miserable. But then when y'all left, we got happy. Actually, we did the best business at that time possible when they were gone. And I was like, happy about that. I was like, y'all, we're gonna be doing it. So he thought we would fall flat. Thought the company would fall flat, but guess what happened? But guess what happened? What happened was we didn't fall flat anywhere. We made at the time more money while they were gone. And then when they came back, he started like I used to lose to this guy in my definitely rookie years in starting. So and I just dealt with it and made money. I didn't care about the wins and the losses, all that crap at the time. I'm like, I'm making money, no matter how much I'm getting, money freezes. So I kept a smile on my face. It didn't bother me. But then when I got better at fighting as I progressed, and he got mad and he did kicking and yelling all the way till the end of the field. He kept whining and kicking, saying, "Oh, they did the XFF. Oh, they exploited my family." And again, I said, Ken, you allowed that to happen. You asked them to put them on the camera. So really, the person that exploited your family is you yourself. You exploited them. You asked them to be filmed. So that was a nice try. I'll give you that. You tried to say, "Oh, they're exploiting this excuse, and they're just using me to do that." And I said, I'm over here shaking my head to that crap. I'm like, and I said, and again, he exploited his family, and from what I heard, all no, he had to do was just tell them please don't film his family no more. That's all he had to say. And say to overexploit it. He did this on purpose. And again, Ken, you asked them to be filmed, dude. So you exploit yourselves, basically. So. When it came to me, he thought the whole Federation needed to be around him, and he said, and at the time, none of us was mad that he and his pals had had the biggest piece of the success cake. So it's like okay, it's like okay, keep it. And I got no problem with it as long as I'm getting my money when I'm supposed to. I'm fine with everything. Wins and losses to me don't mean anything. It's like just pay me. Just do go on with here. That the check balance of this balance is like yeah, nice try. That would be like a nice try though. And then what happened one night? Something that's like I should put it this way. Something that's nothing new. I ran my mouth towards him. He did warn me. He said, "Bison, why don't you do yourself a favor and get the F out of the ring." So what did I do? I went closer and closer to his face, and I said, "Ken, you should know me by now. I'm not good with authority." So then I told him, how did he know I was doing such and such? I said, when I said I pissed him off, I said, you just had to go on the internet to find everything. In other words, you try to be a internet AI tool. And then I dropped the microphone. I got my ass kicked, basically. He wrapped my legs around that pole, and he was trying to finish what he started a year earlier. And I'm over here screaming in pain, basically. And then that's just to me. That was just whatever. So it's like a breakfast in the morning to me. So it didn't bother me about it. So I would ask, did that delay my return because of the injury? I said, not really, because I'm already back already. I'm just gotta now I had to wear a cast for about 2 weeks. So when it came down to it, about 6 weeks later, I was healthy again, and then I said I was going to make a return at some event, and then what did he say? He was going to make his comeback as well, and he said he's wanted a 20-minute fight with me. I said, are you sure? But he said, I just need 20 minutes to end you, and I said, Ken, you can end me, brother, all you want, but you gotta whoop my you-know-what, and that's something nowadays you can't do. But then I had a possible stipulation. I said, you couldn't beat me in 90 or 40 minutes. What in the effing world makes you think you can beat the H out of me in 20? So he said 20 minutes is all he needs. So I told him, well, I got a partial stipulation. I said, the reason why you might win because your family right there, your pals. So I had said each of them must be put in straitjackets and chained so he and I can settle our issues once and for all. And then he agreed to it. He said, I'll put my in-laws and friends, I'll put them in straitjackets and chained up. You tell them to sit wherever. But he said 20 minutes is all I need, Kelly, to smoke you, dog. And I said, Ken, you can smoke me all you want. What you gotta do, is defeat me, which nowadays you can't do. And I said, they're in straitjackets, you and me one-on-one. Yeah, I tell him, Captain, I'm gonna knock you down, dog, and I'm gonna drag you like a you-know-what. And then that was the end of that. That was the deal breaker. So the event comes. He got injured in a boating situation, so he's in a cast. And then so he went and told the public that me and him, our little dream fight ain't gonna happen now because his doctor's advice against him to fight. And then there's a third party involved. My other, I guess, someone I mutually respect to a point. It depends. So I went screaming at him and told him I do fault him for that, but I told him you took away the one chance I had to rid the United States of Ken Sawai from him fighting here. He can only fight if we're all overseas or something. But I was trying to get rid of him for good, and I said, and my other enemy said, I didn't get the job. I said, you didn't. I said, you didn't get the job done because I would have beat him in our match. He would have been like farthest away from here, basically. And then I said, you allow him and his foundation now, they don't have to go anywhere. Well, he don't have to go anywhere. And because you had to go and, do what you do and attack him when we were both preparing to get this dream fight going with his pals and in straitjackets and so nobody interfere. And then next thing is like he said, what he said, he said, a boating accident, he hurt his leg now. It's like, and then I told, you left me to get jumped by guys, and I said I can live with that to a point, but I told him the fact is, again, you took away the one chance I had to get Ken Sawai out of the United States of America, I guess, or U.S., to just beat him and rid him from here. But then you didn't take him out. So my other enemy, you didn't take nobody out for good. I said I would have done it, and then and so I went to go find the other guy. I was gonna go get in his face, and I told him, you want to deal with me or you want to go deal with two of his pals tonight? Or I said, how about we fight those two, and then we deal with each other later. So that's what happened, and then onward I went and I had to relinquish the European eventually. Had to. Because, yeah. So I just gave it, just let it go. And then about 2 years later, a lot of the count they were like leaving, so it had to depend on a couple of us that were still there. And then the next thing I know, I'm looking on the alumni thing, I see what's now, like, did he quit or he's still here? It made me like kind of wonder what was going on. So then as I saw his pals, they were on the alumni thing, the roster as well. I'm like, did they quit or something? And then I was and then when I just said, well, he is the current champion, so I have to take it from him somehow. So I said, if I am, and that's that. And after most of them left, it was okay for a place. I mean, it was turning into what do we call it, everybody? A hostile takeover or whatever. So we went. While I went overseas, that's when they hate, because what's the name didn't like me. So when I'm over there, they really boo the H out of me. They really boo me. Basically, they don't like me then. They never were gonna like me over there. So I was like, whichever. And then I went and did some type of leap, something I did, and then next thing I know, I'm getting called into the boss's office at the time, Tony's, and then he asked me, I'm like, so I wouldn't know, like, I was still somewhat under negotiation, and that's how Tony tried to screw me over, basically. So I told him, check this out. I said, I told him, you ever talk to your wife anymore? Because he forgot she was executive CEO. So I told him, your wife at the time signed me to a permanent contract, and he got scared quick. And then I said, so pretty much I'm put it to you this way. I told him, you're going to get the pleasure of paying me while I'm beating your brains in. So either way, new contract is valid. It was, yeah, basically. So I was like laughing at it. He said, "Oh, he said you." And I walked out on him. I said, I was injured. I took time off. I was like, I need to get I possibly would have needed a surgery done, basically. So, what did they expect me to do? But when I came back, it was like, it was funny, you know, and stuff, whatever. It's like I do what the best I can. If my best I can is not, you know, good enough, then it's not meant for me to be, you know, such and such. And moving forward to today's day and age, I'm retired. Believe it or not. I mean, there was a few little situations, I said, but I wasn't always alone, and I always had a type of backup, because, you know, yeah. And that's the XFL. And as I progressed, I was also, you know, lonely about it, but I dealt with it. So that was that. It was like the fight I had, well, as far as the full time goes, I eventually lost to, you know, one of my enemies. So when he did a fifth whiplash spine buster, he did it from the top of the we call it, and then when back of my head smacked and hit that chair and that concrete, I knew I was not going to kick out of that. I was out like a light. So it took 5-0, and then when he saw me on the ground, he went up. People think he was trash talking. And it was not fully trash talking. I said, so he basically was telling me, of all people, I was shot, thank you. And I'm like, thank you for what? And he said, I'm thank you. He said he was thanking me for the rivalry, the times we had our violent matchups. He said it meant a lot to him. So it's funny. He straight up told me, "I love and respect you, man." He said, "I love and respect you, man." I said, "You too, man." So he just thanked me literally for everything. He said the reason why he was success at the time, he said, because of me. He said he appreciate, you know, what I did for him, what I did for him, backing him up and allowing, helping get his job to the company back and everything. So we were cool about it. And as always, that's how it happens. So again, it looked like he was trash talking, but actually, again, he was thanking me again for everything. He feels like the reason why he is where he is now, he said, is because of him. But I said, don't give me all the credit. You did it yourself. You went through a transition from this to that on your own. Me, I had to be told that, because it was like I had no identity. So my first girlfriend, Kate Lee, she told me, say, do you like crime shows? I said, yeah, I guess. And she like gangster movies? I said, yeah, I guess. And she said, do you feel like a dictator sometimes, like you wish you were the only boss? I said, yeah. And then she said, do you like swords and stuff? I'm like, well, I said, I guess, whatever. So she put two and two to call it together, and she said, oh, go call your boss, tell him this is who you are. You're criminal gangster Bison Blade, and that's who you need to stay as. And so I had changed my style of playing a little bit to where it's like, you know, psychotic stuff basically, because part of, you know, evolving, because certain situations I'm gonna need certain ways of fighting, and I have to think twice about it and say what do I need to deal with this. So I just, you know, what can I do at the time? So it worked out for him, so he's happy about that. But again, when he you know, he pretty much just was telling me thank you, and he appreciated me. He appreciate like the respect I showed him. Yeah, just some cocky and stuff, but I stopped doing that. So while I was knocked out and I can still hear, he was saying, "Bro, thank you for everything." He said, "You helped me, evolve and just be himself." And I was like, "Oh, you're welcome, man." He said, "No, no, no. He said, I don't understand." He said, I'm the reason why, such and such. And so I told him, I said, don't give me all the credit. You brought yourself in too as well. I mean, it's only fair to do that. So I told him, it's what you have to do over time. I mean, and again, I appreciate him. I expect him to say all that stuff, just to, celebrate and say you finally got me at the main event type thing. Eventually, now you got me one-on-one. So while I was knocked out, he went up to me while sitting down. It looked like he was trash. Like I say, like he was trash talking, but he actually was thanking me for everything, and I never got to tell him he's welcome, but I told him all that said back because I loved him too. So people were like saying, "Oh, he's bad mouthing Tyrone." I said, "No, it's not bad mouthing. He actually was thanking me, and I was knocked out. I'm like, thanking me for what?" Basically, he said, I helped him evolve over time and such. So he was like grateful to me. He was great. He was like saying he's great. He was grateful for it, and he said our rivalry basically made him who he is to this day. So I told him, "You're welcome, brother." So and that was the end of that. And then I looked, and after I got myself up after all that, so I went and just I was like, well, I got out, and then certain people knew that after that I was done, basically. There's nothing left for me to really do or prove, so I said, well, I leave the fighting world as well too, or such and such, but I got retired instead by a certain loss though, so. Because there was nothing I could do about that. But like the only people that knew I was like leaving was my children knew, and at the time my wife, she knew at the time what was going on. Who else? A couple of guys in the locker rooms and stuff knew something was up, because the way I was like walking over and leaving like two sodas, leaving 2 sodas in the thing so people could see it, and they asked me what was that a sign of. I said that was a sign of my full-time tenure at that job at that time. It was like, it was done with basically. And I was in denial, of course, you know what I mean. But I said, it can't be over like this, and it was. But again, he thanked me, and I told him, "You're welcome." Because he felt like I elevated him. I told him, "No, you elevated yourself. You should be thanking yourself." So that's how it was done. So it was, like I said, it was a different time at the time, but when he got, like I said earlier, he got me at the top of the what's called, and he did the whiplash. Finally, once I said, when my head hit the canvas in that chair that was laying there accidentally. I said, yep, and I wasn't gonna get up after that like that, and it proved I was right. I didn't get back up, so my opponent won, and then you know the rest basically. And I was like happy when I was told it, because he's one guy that tells me that he's happy for what I've done, what he felt like what I've done for him, and I said, again, you did yourself. You made yourself elevator. You took the ball. You didn't get to do anything. So it was a pretty decent fight, though. I'll give you that. But yeah, he sat next to me again. This is the 5th time in this video. I said he thanked me again for my respect and dedication to the world of extreme, and I told him, "You're welcome." And that was the end of my 4th time. I knew it was over with. It's like I started at the age of 11 or 12, and I'm ending it like today or whatever. Somebody else's birthday, which I didn't know. So I just dealing with it. I was like, what is left of me? I said, besides just go ahead and walk in the sunset and just go away for a while. I come and visit just to talk or whatever, and that's how that was at the time, folks. I want to thank whoever was watching, and y'all have a good day.